Where were you when Jared Cozart made it to the show on a dazzling night in Tampa Bay? Where were you when George Springer hit his first big league home run? Or his second? Or his 10th? Where were you when John Singleton launched his major league career? Where were you when the stars of tomorrow became the heroes of today? It's a brand new day in Houston, and Minute Maid Park is open for business. Where will you be? Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, CSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Astros take on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in Game 2 of a 3-game series. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby. Bart Ennis joins us in a few minutes to talk about an Astros team which, with last night's win over the Angels, has now won 8 of its last 10 games, Ash.
9 games under 500 right now. Starting to play some really good baseball. And I get the sense that every series they now start to encounter, they're an equal team with the other guys across the field and a good chance to win on any given night.
They got younger and they got more powerful when they added John Singleton to the lineup. So we have a look at the ages now on this Astros starting lineup.
Youngest team in Major League Baseball, and they've just got a lot of young stars. Altuve, Springer, as you mentioned, Singleton from last night. Some guys that have a chance to be real studs in the Major Leagues. Jason Castro already an all-star. There's Singleton, and that first home run last night in his Major League debut. Very impressive. But you look at what these guys are doing. There's the home run from Singleton last night. This is legit. This guy's got big-time power. Now, he's going to have, like Springer, his struggles. Springer's had plenty, but he's also had his successes, and they have helped really buoy this team. I would say he's the #1 guy that has brought this team along. Matt Dominguez, a guy with really good power, terrific third baseman. It's hard to figure where he slots in at times, but he's a very talented third baseman now for the club, and a big part of what they're doing.
Coming up, the grind. That young Astros lineup fought C.J. Wilson tooth and nail in every at-bat last night, and it paid major dividends. Bart Ennis tells us more about the benefits of grinding out at-bats when we return. Comcast Sportsnet's presentation of Houston Astros baseball is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box and try Jack's new Blazin' Chicken Sandwich. It's Jack's hottest sandwich yet. And by Orkin, pest control down to a science.
Crowds in as well. And Bo Porter said last night after the game that the fans were really a factor. They were loud, they were into the game, and he really appreciated the way that the fans are goes into that, of course. School is out. Some of the team's best young prospects are up, and fans are excited to come watch those guys play. And they've won 8 of their last 10, so that brings the crowds in as well. And Bo Porter said last night after the game that the fans were really a factor. They were loud, they were into the game, and he really appreciated the way that the fans are sticking with this club through some of their growing pains here recently. Now, one of the areas where they are showing some growth is plate discipline, and Bo talked about the 3rd inning specifically last night because they had traffic in the first 2 innings only to have the erased by double plays, but in the 3rd they broke through. They walked the bases loaded before Jason Castro fouled off a couple of tough pitches and then drove in 2 runs. Then John Singleton got his first big league RBI on a walk, showing some of the plate discipline that he had showed down in Oklahoma City. And then Robbie Grossman on a 2-2 count fouled off a tough pitch there from Wilson before getting something he could handle. He drove in 2 more with that one and chased Wilson out of the game, and the Astros, of course, went on to win. It was reminiscent of what they did against tonight's starter for the Angels, Garrett Richards, back on May 19th in Anaheim when they jumped on him for a double, 2 singles, 2 walks. That all resulted in 3 runs. They went on to win that game 5-2. It's really all just about plate discipline, working counts, working deep into counts, getting pitches you can handle. Bo talked about the fact that these guys are starting to see pitches better, and they're working deeper into counts. It all goes into it. Now, don't make any mistake. Now, Bo will take the home run ball as well, and the Astros can do that. They've hit 62 this year, which is 4th best in the American League, and just 1 fewer than the Angels have hit. So the question is, what will we see tonight? Will it be small ball, or will the laser show continue? That's what we want to know, and if Singleton keeps hitting them that way, the laser show will continue. We'll have lineups and first pitch coming back after the break.
In the final leg, game 2 of this 3-game series, the Astros and the Angels meeting, and the starting lineup for Mike Scioscia begins with right fielder Cole Calhoun. He's followed by Eric Ibar, the shortstop. Then it's Albert Pujols at first base, Josh Hamilton in center field, Howie Kendrick at second base, David Freese at third, Raul Ibanez in left field, C.J. Cron the DH, and Hank Conger is the catcher.
Jared Kozar, 24 years of age, goes to the mound for the Astros tonight in game 2, 4-4 on the year, 4.18 the ERA. A winner his last time out working, just 5 innings at Kansas City against the Royals.
In that game, he won it 9-3, giving up 1 earned run. First pitch to Cole Calhoun is strike 1. Gordon Baker's the home plate umpire who rings it up. Calhoun at 227 has 3 homers. He's driven in 6. Last night he was the leadoff man, going 1 for 5. He had a leadoff double in the first inning. The Astros won that game 7-2 last night. Cozart missing there, evens the count at 1-1 He has lost his only career decision against the Angels, and that was here, the second series this year against C.J. Wilson on April 7th. He gave up 5 runs in 6 innings. He didn't have his curveball working that day. That was his second start of the year, and he was hit around in a 3-run first. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
3 straight fastballs to start the game for Jarrett. Now keep in mind he's got 3 versions of a fastball. I'm really curious every time he hits the mound as to which one we're going to see. The cutter, when thrown for strikes, can be very effective.
And the curveball gets him a strikeout.
That last start at Kansas City that we talked about for Jarrett Cozart, again, just 5 innings in that one. And the Royals scored runs in the 4th and 5th innings. Jarrett's pitch count tends to get in the way of getting a whole lot deeper in ball games, but defensively he's quick, he's agile off the hill. There's that little cutter down and away. Jarrett Cozart has the stuff to be exceptional.
Facing Eric Ibar next. Ibar 0 for 3 with a walk last night. Third baseman Matt Dominguez in tight. There is ball 1 to Ibar. A .273 hitter with 4 homers. 31 runs batted in for Ibar. He batted 9th last night.
Looks right now, Brownie, like we're seeing kind of just the straight 4-seamer from Jarrett.
That's in for a strike.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If he can throw that for a strike consistently, it might be the one to turn to.
Colin McHugh was last night's starter in winter with 5 shutout innings. Breaking pitch comes in for a strike, and it's 1-2. And McHugh, of course, has made quite a bit of the 4-seam fastball up in the top of the zone and the big curve. We're seeing both of those offerings from Cozart here early. Bouncing that one. He goes to a 2-ball, 2-strike count with Albert Pujols waiting. Cozart just turned 24 on May 25th. 5 major league wins, 5 losses, and a 3.07 ERA for his first 21 starts in the big leagues. 65 walks, 73 strikeouts for Cozart. Ground ball rolled to shortstop. There's Marwin Gonzalez on over to first, playing for the injured Jonathan Villar. Short.
Defensively for the Astros tonight, behind Jarrett Cozart, we'll do it left to right in the outfield. Alex Presley, Dexter Fowler, and George Springer. On the left side of the infield, Matt Dominguez and Marwin Gonzalez, with Jonathan Villar hurting a bit. On the right side, Jose Altuve and John Singleton. And behind the plate is Jason Castro.
Yeah, Villar was hit by a pitch on the elbow in the 8th inning last night, and he really got drilled by Matt Shoemaker, so he is not in that lineup tonight. Albert Pujols at .253 with 14 homers has driven in 33. 24 home runs in Houston, the most by any visitor. And Pujols takes a look at it for ball 1 high. Albert last night went 1 for 4. Astros pitchers who hold him as the count goes to 1-1. 1 for 4 in a game, with that 1 hit being a single. Deserved to turn cartwheels after what he's done in his career against Houston. .302 batting average, 43 bombs, 116 runs batted in. Now it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count for Cozart. At home, Jarrett is 2-1 with a 4.09 ERA, close to where he was born in League City, Texas. Bounces that one, and the count goes to 3-1. Jarrett was a 38th round pick of the Phillies in 08. He had signed to attend the University of Missouri. The Astros got him in a trade in July of 2011. That was the Hunter Pence trade, along with John Singleton, and Josh Zeid, who's at AAA Oklahoma City, and Domingo Santana, who's also at Oklahoma City. Ground ball to third, backhanded by Dominguez. Over to Singleton for a 1-2-3 first. The Astros come up against Garrett Richards in a moment. And the Astros lineup card is brought to you by Back in the Box. Here's that new look lineup for Bo Porter. We went back to Dexter Fowler leading it off last night. He's in center field with Jose Altuve at second base. George Springer plays right field. Jason Castro's the catcher. Batting fifth tonight at first base is John Singleton. It's Matt Dominguez at third. Chris Carter the DH. Alex Presley in left field. Marwin Gonzalez at shortstop.
Garrett Richards is a 26-year-old right-hander, 4-2, 365 to Ernie. He got beat up by the Astros a little bit when you go back to May 19th. Right here at Minute Maid Park, 5 Ernie's 10 hits over 7 innings against him. But this guy has legit stuff. His fastball goes mid-90s. He'll go toe-to-toe with Jared Cozart.
And he beat the Astros here April 4th with a well-pitched ball game. That one burns in at 97 to open the game. Strike one to Dexter Fowler. 257, 3 homers, 16 runs batted in. In the top 10 in on-base percentage in the American League at 375. And it's no balls, 2 strikes.
Well, you get that kind of sinking running action at 97. You're talking about a very elite core of pitchers.
Fowler was elite last night himself. 2 hits and 2 walks, reaching base in 4 of the 5 plate appearances. It was his first time in the leadoff spot since April 17th. That one goes foul. Jose Altuve had been leading off, and this change puts Altuve in the number 2 spot ahead of George Springer. Richards 15-15 in his major league career with a 4.25 ERA. He did not make it out of the first inning, and that last start at Oakland Friday. 2/3 of an inning, 5 earned runs. It's a crack foul. Dexter Fowler 1 for 2 against Richards.
Take that, upper 90s.
Yeah, pulled it.
Richards trying to come in on Fowler, and Fowler had a response.
Richards is 26 years old, just turned 26. Born in Riverside, California. Went to the University of Oklahoma. First round pick in 09. Fly ball right field, headed for the corner, coming over and diving. Calhoun can't make the play. Fowler heads for second. He's going to stretch it out for third, and he'll make it there easily and come home as this ball is caught in the fence apparently. And we'll see what the umpire's ruling is. They're going to take him back to third base, it would appear. See how far they take him back. Evidently that ball got caught out there in the padding, so he may wind up being sent back to second base.
Right underneath that fence right there, it seemed to roll under, and there was an immediate ball from the right fielder in terms of the ball going under. Watch as this. Yeah, oh, that found the 5-hole, didn't it?
It sure did.
Well, you could try it for 10 years and never see another ball go through that spot.
We've never seen it yet in this ballpark until tonight. So Fowler has a double. The ball caught in the outfield fence. That's the ground rule. And Fowler now has 8 doubles. So that's a good way to lead it off for Altuve now, who leads the league in hits with 79. He gets a breaker, and it's strike one. He's been seeing a lot of breaking pitches, and he was beating himself up a little bit about that tonight. 316, still in the top 5 in batting average in the American League. 2 homers, 17 runs batted in. He said he told his brother after the game last night he felt like he was hitting 220. Foul back. He said his brother told him, "You're hitting 317." So he didn't feel like it.
357 on base percentage. He has been dynamite, but you know, when you're red hot and suddenly you have a couple of games where you just get one hit, it feels like the whole world has cratered on you.
Yeah. That's the kind of hit machine he's been with 79 hits in the first 59 games. And he watches that one bounce. The breaking pitch makes it 1-2. Of course, he'd love to steer that ball to the right side if he can't get a hit, and at least advance Fowler to third after starting out 0-2 in the count.
You know, Jose Altuve has only had 3 hits over the last 4 games. No wonder he feels like he's only hitting a couple of bucks. Last multi-hit game, he had 3 hits against Baltimore on the 29th of May.
According to Fangraphs, Garrett Richards leads the majors in average fastball velocity, 95.9.
In terms of starters, no doubt in my mind.
He gets a strikeout on the curve. 1 out.
Defensively, if the Angels happen to need those guys tonight, left, right in the outfield, Raul Ibanez, Josh Hamilton, and Cole Hamill. On the left side of the infield, David Freese and Eric Ibar. On the right, it's Howie Kendrick and Albert Pujols. And beyond the dish, Hank Conger.
Now George Springer with 10 homers, 29 runs batted in, and a .255 batting average. He earned Rookie of the Month honors in the American League. Springer takes a look at it. It's strike one to George. When last night's opener of this series was 0 for 3 with a pair of walks.
Major league hitters have a terminology. In fact, all throughout professional baseball, if you've got a dial, turn it up. Because this guy, Richards, as we talked about, extremely hard thrower. And I think the guys in the dugout will say, turn the dial all the way up.
Fowler draws a look and gets back to second. Springer is 3 for 20 on this homestand. That's after he hit .294 in May with 10 homers, 25 runs batted in, with a 1,032 OPS. Astros on deck. And a swing there. It takes the count for Richards to no balls, 2 strikes.
A couple of filthy breaking balls. One called, and with that one called maybe on the outside black, Springer expands a bit. We go back to May 26th, the 4-hit game for Springer with the home run, a couple of doubles and everything he did. Boy, if you were ever trying to get yourself back there, that would be the video to watch.
And he struck out. Here's a throw from Conger to first. Now Fowler on that play goes to third base. That's out number 2. Strikeout number 2 for Richards. A 2-3 put out, and Fowler taking third on the wild pitch.
Well, Richards really didn't have to throw anything in the strike zone. After getting ahead, he turns to a hard slider looking breaking ball, and that bat just can't hold back for Springer. Well, that was a tough at bat, and you get some of those where you go back and just basically tell yourself, I never got anything to really handle.
Well, Richards has not given up a home run to a right-handed batter this year, and that's for 91 at bats now. Jason Castro will try for the 2-out RBI. .230, 6 homers, 27 runs batted in for Castro. Castro 1 for 4 with 2 runs batted in last night in the 3rd inning when the Astros got 5. He takes a look at it. It's strike one. Castro 2 for 10, and he's driven in a run against Richards. Jason's 2 for 13 on this homestand. He was once again elected the player representative for the Astros in a meeting before the game tonight. Takes a high heater, and that makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
What was his promise to the populace?
Chicken in every pot.
Well, at least he went for something new.
No, I don't know what his platform was. It's not disclosed. Secret campaigns. Swing and a miss makes it a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
The advertising campaigns are out of control these days in terms of expenses.
Yes, they are.
And otherwise.
Fowler led off with a double, took third on a wild pitch, but Richards has the kind of electric stuff to strand base runners in scoring position. And the Astros have the lowest batting average with runners in scoring position in the American League, also the lowest with 2 outs. Shot out to right center field. Cole Calhoun on the run. Calhoun there for the grab. No runs, a hit, and a man stranded. No score after 1.
between the Astros and Angels as we move to the second. And we were discussing Jared Cosart a moment ago. We were talking to Bo Porter before tonight's game about Cosart, and he said one of the things about Cosart is he has started to trust his command in that fastball. And Alan Ashby was talking a moment ago about he's got some variations on that fastball, including a real nice cutter. But he was afraid early in the season if he threw too many fastballs, apparently guys were going to start squaring it up. But he has decided now, since he has such good command of that thing, he's going to throw it where he wants, and set up his other pitches off of that. Now, he certainly doesn't have the type of velocity that Richards has, but he has very good command of that fastball, guys, and it has become his go-to pitch.
High-octane guy. He goes out for the second inning after a 1-2-3 first with this game scoreless. And correcting how Fowler got from second to third, it was ruled on a fielder's choice, not a wild pitch in the first inning. We move to Josh Hamilton leading off the second now. Hamilton returned to the lineup from the disabled list last night and homered. He also drew a walk. That's in the air and drifts back into the seat, strike one. So it was a thunderous return for Hamilton, and Hamilton has gaudy numbers against the Astros this season. .433 with the Angels, 3 homers, 7 runs batted in. Against Houston, .588, 3 homers. He's driven in 7. So all of his home run and RBI production for the season has come against Houston. And he's had just 30 at bats with the broken thumb, putting him out for almost 2 months. Had surgery on that.
I was just going to say, Ronnie, that last pitch from Cosart, one of the seldom changeups that he throws. But it looked to me like he might have slowed down in the delivery of it.
Telegraphed it a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of pitchers will do, especially when they're not comfortable with a given pitch. And I perceive that Jared has not gained that comfort level with the change yet. But it's a pitch I think that could serve him extremely well.
Singleton ranges far over towards second and then makes the toss. Altuve could have made that play. Singleton has been aggressive in going for balls to his right.
Jared Cosart last month versus May, April versus May, I should say, now that we're in June. But you can see the extra base hits are way down in May. The home runs against down to 0 in the month of May from a bit of a lofty figure back in April, and the ERA has drifted downward. Keep in mind, back in April, he had that dismal game, just 1/3 of an inning in Oakland, allowing 7 earned runs. But the numbers are improving for Jared.
There's strike one. His ERA without that Oakland game is 3.58. Howie Kendrick taking a look at it. There's strike one to Kendrick. 289, 3 homers. He's driven in 24. 394 is his average against the Astros. There's a shot. Singleton gets in front of it nicely with his body, blocks it, and takes care of out number 2.
You know, sometimes you pay the price as a major league infielder, especially playing on the corners. But with that price comes a lot of respect from your teammates. If you get that body in front and keep these balls in the infield and get the outs, tough play.
Made it well. That's 5 straight for Cosart, and now it's David Freese. Freese also has had a hand injury, fracture of his right middle finger. He missed 16 games. These Angels have been a banged up bunch. So strike one to Freese. 211, 2 homers, 14 runs batted in. Now they're missing Mike Trout, who left the game with a back ailment last night after missing the previous 2 games with a stiff upper back. Prior to the game today, he got a clean MRI on his back, and now he just has some inflammation, according to the report. Fouled away. 4 balls, 2 strikes.
So you're saying he got one of those dreaded negative reports, huh?
Yeah. But very positive for him. Trout said it's definitely good news. Mike Scioscia said we're not anticipating Mike being on the DL at all. And they're hoping he'll be back in a couple of days.
Well, the Angels have dropped 4 in a row, and you know they're not going to be a stellar team minus Mike Trout.
1 and 2. They are 4th in runs scored. There's Trout with him most of the time this year. They're 3rd in total bases. A very good lineup. But last night the Astros stopped them 7-2. The Angels getting 5 hits.
Trout not in the lineup, and you could see the focus.
That's 6 straight. Cosart has struck out 2. And coming up in the Astros second, it's Singleton, Dominguez, and Carter. 0-0.
to a great start here as we move to the bottom of the second. And it's time now for you to pull out your phone or your camera and tweet your photo using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Cameras? Does anybody use cameras anymore, guys?
Don't use them. No, we don't need them.
Does a phone come with that camera?
My camera makes calls.
Strike one to John Singleton, who ripped his first Major League homer last night, going 1 for 3. Driving in a couple, one of those on a bases loaded walk. He struck out a couple of times. Very good Major League debut, joining exclusive Astros company. And the breaking pitch makes it no balls, 2 strikes. Here's the long ball.
It's what it looked like last night, and that's what it sounded like. I mean, he made this ball explode. Big fella's going to hit a few of these. And further excitement on the club.
Now 0-2 to Singleton. And it's a strikeout for Richards. He's snapping off the curve tonight. That's his 3rd punch out.
This is wicked stuff, but you could also see what Singleton does. He keeps the head in there quite well. On a couple of breaking balls, the last one being a big curveball. Watch how he tries to keep his head as much in position as possible with that big swing. I think that'll serve him well.
Matt Dominguez is on a 7-game hitting streak. 2 for 3 with a walk last night. Domingo looks at strike one. At 256, he has 8 bombs. He's driven in 24. During his 7-game hitting streak, he's hit .308. That one's off the hands, and it's no balls, 2 strikes as Garrett Richards is working effectively. Richards, in his career at Minute Maid Park, is 2-0 with a 1.29 ERA.
This guy ought to be good everywhere with this stuff.
And yet he's been used out of the bullpen sometimes past few years by the Angels. He pounds it in there, and it's strikeout number 4. A reminder now, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game. It's brought to you by Miller Lite. Garrett Richards last year made only 17 starts. He made 30 relief appearances, so he's been biding his time, waiting for this opportunity to join the starting rotation. He had 29 Major League starts and 84 total appearances coming into this season. Chris Carter at 200 has 9 bombs. He hit one last night. And there's strike one to Carter, who's driven in 23.
Well, Richards has been steady at 97 with that fastball. Very impressive.
Carter was 2 for 4 in last night's game. He gets a big hook, and it's 0-2.
Nasty over the top yacker. He's got a slider. Creates a tough angle on right-hand hitters.
He's thrown 24 pitches, 22 have been strikes. And that finishes off a 2nd inning in which he strikes out the side on 9 pitches. We go to the 3rd inning, no score.
in-game live at csnhouston.com. It's your home for all the stats that you need. Basically, it's the stats more than the back of a baseball card. Also, you can vote for the player of the game. The winning choice, your choice, gets shown on TV during Astros postgame live. So for tonight, our Twitter question, obviously the buzz is all about John Singleton after his home run last night. I know when I saw it, I was in shock. And he was hyped up too when he was running the bases. So our Twitter question is, what were you thinking? How excited were you when he hit that first career Major League home run? Tweet me at HoChanCSN and explain yourself, because I'm reading the best tweets on TV, guys.
Thanks, Howard. There is strike one to Raul Ibanez in a 0-0 game. There's only been one base runner through the first two. A leadoff double by Dexter Fowler in the home first. That's punched in the air to left center field by Ibanez, and waiting for it, Presley. One out for Kozar.
Got a couple of right-hand pitchers going right after it tonight.
They are pounding the zone with just dynamic stuff so far.
Pounding the zone now, that means throwing strikes, right? Because that's what pitchers used to try to do all the time.
Okay.
I don't know if they were making a mistake.
No. Well, they weren't making a mistake. We just came up with different lingo. C.J. Cron at 295 has 3 homers, 11 runs batted. Cron 0 for 1 in last night's game as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning. And the right-handed hitter takes a look at that one for strike one.
I would call that a quality portion of the zone.
Yeah. Sharply hit Singleton. Backhanded toss over to Kozar. Singleton's been involved in 3 assists in this game.
Gifted little backhand flip right there.
I get 2 assists. The other 3 unassisted.
Very challenging Singleton here in this series. Look at that. No fear at all.
Hit it to the new guy.
A couple got by him last night. One was certainly a tough effort.
And Conger trying to scrub an 0 for 13. Comes up hitting .253 with 3 homers. He's driven in 14. Last night's catcher was Chris Iannetta. Conger takes a look at it. That's ball 1 to Conger. Conger's hit well against the Astros. .317 lifetime. That's in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Conger's 26 years old, born in the state of Washington. First round pick in 06. Switch hitter. It's a 2-ball 1 strike count. Well, just 24 hours from now, we'll know who the Astros' first pick is in the draft.
Do you have any insights?
Nope. How about you?
No. You know, you start to get kind of a sense of which way the winds are blowing a little bit talking to some people, but I'm not sure those are the people that have any sense as to what reality might be. But it sounds like there's a lot of chatter on the young left-hander out of San Diego. The catcher out in the Southern California area is drawing some raves.
Alex Jackson.
Yeah, I believe that's the name.
Catcher, outfielder. He swung on appeal to third base umpire Paul Emmel, and that is a 9-pitch inning. Wow, these guys are dealing. No score after 2.5.
so far. The Corpus Christi Hooks take on the San Antonio Missions in the Futures game. That's on Tuesday, June 10th. And presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Get your tickets at 1-877-9-ASTROS or at Astros.com.
Previous Astros #1 draft choices. Lloyd Bannister, 1976. Phil Nevin in 92, the year Jeter was drafted by the Yankees. Carlos Correa and Mark Appel. These were all the first choices in the draft overall.
Phil Nevin picked ahead of the likes of Derek Jeter. Of course, Jeter was bypassed by a number of teams.
Yeah, he was.
And Nevin really put together a pretty solid major league career.
Alex Presley leads it off. There's ball one from Richards, who struck out the side on 9 pitches in the second inning. That's a rarity. 248 for Presley, 3 homers, 8 runs batted in. People take note of a pitcher doing that at the major league level. Presley is popping it up here, and Howie Kendrick waiting. And that's out number 1. Alex Jackson, we've looked at the projected top guys in the draft, but he's the one hitter. One among the top 4 who are projected to be high picks. Alex Jackson has been a catcher, but probably will be an outfielder by the time he gets to the big leagues, according to the experts.
Well, again, I'll bring up the name Bryce Harper, a guy who was drafted as a catcher, but they knew that he was going to be an outfielder. I haven't heard Bryce Harper type talk when it comes to Jackson. That's a pretty good swing we just looked at.
Marwin Gonzalez is the batter. He's on a 4-game hitting streak. There's strike 1. There's been 1 base runner in this game. Gonzalez sports a .302 batting average with 1 homer, 3 runs batted in. We mentioned Jonathan Villar was hit by a pitch near the elbow last night. There's swelling, and that's why he's not in the lineup today, but it did not catch him on that bone at the end of the elbow, actually. That's good news.
Yeah, that's great news. I talked to Bo Porter, and he seemed to feel that everything was fine there other than just being sore.
No balls, 2 strikes, and
which of course, when you're the person that's sore, it's not all that fine. But
no. But Villar is still the starting shortstop for Bo Porter. He reiterated that to the media today. But Marwin will play some. Marwin has been very good off the bench and in occasional starts. That one to center field. Josh Hamilton sliding. 2 outs. Since 05, let's look at the guys who have been drafted #1. Justin Upton, Oche, Price, Beckham, Strasburg, Harper, and Cole. Beckham so far, it looks like the big washout, but it's still too early to claim that would be the case with Beckham.
Yeah, Tim Beckham, I think, would be the closest to a total washout that you could name amongst the guys in that group.
Yeah, the old saying is you can't miss on 1-1. So if the team has any doubts at all, play it with the safer pick. Dexter Fowler, the batter. Up the middle, and that will trickle on behind second and through into center field to give him a 2-for-2 night. He's on another planet. Nobody else has been on base except for Fowler.
I would say the Astros hitters, when they get a chance in the dugout, need to sidle up next to Dexter Fowler and find out how to deal. Because otherwise, Garrett Richards has looked unhittable.
Right between the legs.
Is that the 5-hole when you do it from behind?
Well, I'm not sure.
Or does that go to 10-hole? I'm not sure how that works.
No. He hit a good spot, let's put it that way. And with 2 outs, he's aboard for Altuve. Altuve struck out in the first inning. And maybe a running opportunity here with 2 outs in the inning. But Fowler has attempted 9 steals. He's been successful on 6 of those. A strike 1. Remains to be seen how much running he will do now that he's back in the leadoff spot. Altuve has attempted 23 steals and he's made it on 20 of those. Fowler has not really shown that aggressiveness as a base stealer yet with the Astros. Foul ball. It's no balls, 2 strikes to Jose Altuve. The Astros have hit just .212 in their 8 games against the Angel pitching staff. And they've scored 26 runs in those 8 games. Angels have won 5 and the Astros have won 3 in their season series. Bo Porter's club 2-3 in this ballpark against Mike Scioscia's team. And there's the toss over to first. Fowler did not do a tremendous amount of running last year with the Rockies either.
Yeah, he was on base a lot and stole 19 bags, I believe.
Yep, in 28 tries. Altuve chops one off the plate and it goes foul. And you know, in this situation, Altuve, who has 2 home runs, is not a big threat to hit the ball out of the park. He could hit a double, has 17 of those, and there's a fair chance he would do that. But if Fowler could steal the base, and it's not going to happen now on 0-2 probably, but if he could steal that base with 2 outs in the inning, put himself in a scoring position, then he could score the first run of the game on a 2-out single.
Yeah, I think 0-2 actually is a pretty good opportunity to run right here. You've got Altuve, who's an ideal leadoff man if you fail on the stolen base attempt, and on the 0-2 a lot of times it's breaking ball in the dirt.
It's out to shortstop, and Ibar gets it on to second to Kendrick for the forced play from 6-4. No runs a hit and a man left after 3, no score.
Fourth, we are scoreless. Hey, it's time for our progressive fan of the game. And boy, you talk about a fan. Cliff Hill has been a season ticket holder of the Houston Astros for 52 seasons. That's impressive, sir.
Yes, sir. Sure is.
What was the story behind that? Your wife was originally the big fan.
Well, yes, she was. She passed away 11 years ago, but we had 2 seats down there, row 20. But she'd tell them what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and everything. So
isn't that normally the case?
All I had to do was just come with her, and I'd be here.
Yeah. So what do you think of the new Astros? This young group here.
I think real good, but I'm not too sure about that billion-dollar guy. I don't know if he's going to make it or not.
Okay. Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
How about Alan Ashby? Remember Alan Ashby? Used to be a catcher.
Oh,
What'd you think of him?
Time good.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Oh, yes. Yeah, if you come to the ball game, you had to like him.
I agree. That's Cliff Hill, a big-time progressive fan of the game. Cliff, thank you.
Yeah.
Back to you guys.
And that's who he was talking about, that billion-dollar guy, Alan Ashby.
Tommy Lasorda just showed up in an Angels uniform. He just went down like the great shot from the All-Star game with Tommy Lasorda ducking under I guess it was a bat flinging his way. See if we get a shot of this. Hey, Bart, be careful with those very dangerous questions and the fans, okay?
Gary DiSarcina, the third base coach of the Angels. And that's off the plate by Cozart for a 1-2 count. He's retired the first 9 Angels tonight. Angels are averaging 4.7 runs per game. That's third best in the American League. Cozart has struck out 3. Make it 4.
Wow. Good looking stuff. Commanding the strike zone tonight, Jared Cozart. And he's not, we talked about the 3 different fastballs. He's not overtly cutting that fastball. I haven't seen any version of the alleged one-seam sinker that he throws. It just looks like 4-seamers most of the night. Maybe 1 or 2 that had a tiny cut. This curveball is quite effective.
Eric Ibar is the batter. He bounced to short. Strike to Ibar with Dominguez in on the grass at third. One of those nights these pitchers are serving notice. It might be a bunt here and there, a steal, a wild pitch, something like that decides a game starting out like this one. Altuve. 2 down.
By the way, Brownie, I noticed only one of us was holding his breath on that. What do you think of Alan Ashby question?
Whew, well, yeah, your whole life flashes before you when somebody answers that question, right?
Wow.
What did you think he might say?
Oh, I had all kinds of retorts, but yeah, we're still alive.
Albert Pujols grounded out earlier. There's strike one. What did you think he was going to say? Couldn't catch the knuckleball?
Every time I came to the ballpark and he was in the lineup, I decided to go catch a local restaurant.
It's 0-2.
At least I was good for the economy, if that was the case.
Quick pace in the early stage of this game. Pujols is driven back, and it's a 1-ball 2-strike count. Albert now with 506 career homers.
Would you say we've had just a smattering of base runners?
We have had 2. We've had a scarcity of activity on the bases. It's a line shot off the glove of Altuve and on through into center field for a Pujols single. He drilled it.
So you can get away from the no-hit dreaming tonight, but everything else is in play. As sharp as we've seen Jared Cozart for a long while. Jose Altuve trying to get well above the rim.
Yeah,
he does play above the rim.
Josh Hamilton's the batter. He bounced out from Singleton to Cozart covering. Ball 1. Hamilton was a 1-1. First player drafted in Tampa Bay was involved with Josh Hamilton.
You know, if a 1-1 goes on to be an MVP or a Cy Young Award winner, everybody was dead on the money.
That looked bad for a while with Hamilton.
Yeah, it did.
Ran into substance abuse problems after an automobile accident and after being taken with the first overall pick in '99 by Tampa Bay. He was traded to Cincinnati, never reached the big leagues with the team that drafted him. And he really blossomed with the Texas Rangers. Became an all-star with them. 2 balls and a strike, and he's now 33 years old and coming off a season in which he had career lows in batting average and on base average last year. He struck out 158 times for the Angels.
I don't imagine that concerned anybody who just signed him to a long-term huge deal in Anaheim.
No.
Staying right on that curveball.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, you know, with Pujols and Hamilton taking up a whole lot of contract money, the Angels still have room to roll. Their owner has deep pockets. Artie Moreno and the People who follow this Angel club say, oh, if we want to pick up somebody for the stretch drive, that won't be an issue financially. Strikeout number 5 for Cozart, and he gave a different look to Hamilton. No runs, a hit, and a man left. No score. Dominic Susi, and he's going to trot out some of the delectable food. And are these all new now?
They are. They're all new. Yep. They're available on the street eat stand with the new concepts in the main concourse.
Main concourse for all these different delightful bites here and there. What's this?
That is a pulled pork taco with a citrus cilantro slaw, a little sriracha sauce, some nice fresh squeezed lime on top of there, corn tortillas. Pork is stewed in some peppers, some pico de gallo, cilantro.
Nice work there, Brownie, by the way. That's nice.
Tough. This is tough. Pass it right along toward the camera.
There's a salivation factor involved here.
George Springer at the plate. People have been salivating over his game while we're looking at all this food. And he takes strike one. What is your favorite, Dominic?
I think my favorite is probably the pork taco. I like the pork taco a lot.
Is that what this is here?
Yeah.
Okay, Brownie, we need some of your visual effects, I imagine. No, that's okay, whatever. That looks good.
It's the same. And then we also have the new open-faced kind of home-style hot dog sandwich
that
on
looks
Texas toast.
Quite intriguing and quite outstanding, I must add.
It's got the jalapenos, the onions, some barbecue sauce, cheddar cheese. It's kind of something, when your parents aren't home and you had to dig through the fridge real quick and cook something up,
Even when they're just not paying attention.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Look at that, Ash.
It's all after the
Brownie, pull off the face on that. It's an open face.
Oh, it's an open face.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Oh, my. Look at this.
We're trying to capture the food truck feel at the ballpark.
That's
nice.
nice.
The big food truck craze that's going on across the country right now. So.
There's a little bit of a craze going on here in the booth at the moment.
Ash is kind of a food truck guy.
It's good craze going on in the field these days now.
Yes, there is.
Too. What's this one?
That is the ribbon fry, which, of course, is a big success all over Texas State fairs, where they take the whole potato and they spin it off right in front of you and fry it fresh right there. It's just a continuous fried kettle chip almost.
That's a strikeout looking on Springer for out number 1.
But yeah, we're just trying to capitalize on some new things around the ballpark, make sure that the fans are getting the complete experience that they can have. And try some new things other than just the regular burgers, chicken tenders, and hot dogs at the stadium.
And how's it playing?
It's going really good. It's going really good so far. And we're changing these up all the time down in the street eat stand. It's not, these are for, available for probably about 3 weeks, and then we'll switch it up again for something new. We had a couple other items in there at the start of the season with the chicken fried BLT. We still have the Texas Hold'em down there because that's been a pretty good fan favorite. They've been hitting that really good.
What's that one?
That is a pulled barbecue chicken with some caramelized onions and peppers.
Castro with a single to right field.
It's on garlic toasted Texas toast.
Jason's aboard with 1 out. Hit number 3 for the Astros.
We also have the new stuff down in the Texas smoke stand with the brisket sandwiches, the loaded baked potatoes, the jalapeno sausages.
You guys cover the game. I'm going to cover this.
We're going to get your review shortly. And, once you get into the sampling, you have to go all the way with it. So each of these items will be sampled by our very own Alan Ashby.
Sampling is small bites, Brownie. I've just crossed the line on that one.
Yes, you're into the gourmet stuff now. John Singleton, the batter. He struck out in the second inning. 6 strikeouts for Richards so far. It's got to be a fun job for you.
Oh, it's great. There's definitely a lot of worse offices to be in, that's for sure.
And maybe some indecision on the part of people looking over all these new items and trying to reach some kind of a call on what they're going to order that night.
Yeah. We've got great stuff at the 5-7 too. We've redone that whole menu.
That one almost got him on the belt buckle. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chef Dominic, how long have you had this job now?
I've been at Minute Maid since August of last year. Took over on August 1st. So I've been with Aramark for 10 years. Was at the George R. Brown for 5 years, the previous 5, and now I've been over here since August.
You got to be rooting for the team, and are you anxious? Are you excited with what you've been seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to be in a city that has a good buzz about the team that's going on. It's a nice transformation going on in the field right now.
1 ball, 2 strikes. All these young, enthusiastic guys bouncing around. Kind of energizes everybody watching them, in fact.
Absolutely. Bringing people into the park, bringing a better feel into the park.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, well, the more people that come in, the more I think you're going to be inclined to keep this kind of food around, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is great. It's great stuff.
Again, it's just trying to bring something new to the park that they haven't had before.
Goes beyond your standard ballpark hot dog, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got, we have the bacon wrap dog in concourse. We're also going to be unveiling some new dogs on the Budweiser patio. We have rotational dogs on the club level that we're changing them up every month. This month coming up is going to be the Andouille Southern dog. It's on a pretzel bun instead of a regular hot dog roll.
So do you do like Chicago dogs and chili cheese dogs and all that sort of thing?
Yep. We have all of those. Next month after the Andouille dog, we're doing a banh mi hot dog. Where it's going to be like a banh mi sandwich, and it's going to have a hot dog instead of your tofu or your chicken.
You've gone way past my hot dog eating range with the last couple of descriptions, but.
Well, give us your opinion.
Well, my opinion is I'm waiting for my next bite, and I'm very anxious to get to it.
So you would not be participating in this interview anymore?
No, I checked out a long time ago, actually.
Decisions.
Yeah, the food's great, Brownie.
Singleton gets underneath that one. It's way up in the air. And Calhoun coming over for the catch, out number 2.
When you see a towering fly ball like this, with that kind of swing, and that wasn't even the big Singleton swing, you realize that when he misses some balls, he's still going to drive them out of the yard.
Yeah.
And this is going to be one of your classic power hitters.
Yeah, kid's got some nice pop.
Dominic, reading about some of these scouts, when they scout, we'll say high school players, if they see a high school player and he doesn't get a hit, but he hits a couple fly balls like that one, they take particular note because of the bat speed hitting the ball that high. That's a definite check mark for a hitter. Matt Dominguez taking strike 1. Hasn't ballpark food changed immensely down through the years?
Oh yeah, the demand from the guests at the ballpark have changed a lot. They want to see new things. They want to see fresh things. They want to make it a night with their family instead of just going to a game and an event. They want to make it a whole experience.
So in the biz, are you guys scouting other ballparks and finding out what's hot and what's not?
We are, actually. We are. We're anytime I go to another city, I always try to go to a ball game or a football game, basketball game, hockey game, something like that, just to kind of compare what we're doing, see what other companies are doing, other areas are doing, and see if we can, take it to the next level at our location.
Domingo swings at it 1-2. When you say baseball would be more of an eating sport, so to speak, you don't have people like in a hockey game you just mentioned, or they're getting up and down all the time, and this way they can just possibly sit down,
enjoy. Absolutely. Baseball's more of a marathon. You're there for a while. They can enjoy the food. along the time.
Is that implying that somebody running a marathon should eat along the way?
Oh, yeah.
3 meals per marathon?
Absolutely. Break open the hot dog sandwich halfway through, maybe mile 13, just as they're getting the halfway point.
Chef Dominic Susi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Loving your food.
Thanks for the food.
Thanks, guys.
There we have it. No score.
Astros, Dynamo, Rockets, and more. We've got the entire Houston sports scene covered with Sportsnet Central every night at 6, 10, and midnight only on Comcast Sportsnet. Let's go back up now to the buffet.
Just finishing up here. Thank you, Bart. Thanks for buying us a little extra time for that. Oh, this stuff is magnificent.
Yeah. Hey, Bart, you need to make your way up here. There might be a bite or two left for you by the time you get here.
Okay.
Make it very quickly, please, if you want anything at all. Howie Kendrick with a liner, and that goes foul for strike one. Only one hit so far for the Angels.
Bart is very quick, I must add. He was down in the seats when I said, come join us. And
Bart, try this.
I'll have to talk with my mouth full. My mom said I shouldn't do that.
So you would be the second or third in line tonight to do that.
To do that, right.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a great job, by the way.
Of eating. Thank you.
Yes, that's what I meant.
That's what we do best. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 hit for the Angels, 3 for the Astros. No errors in the game. As Bart Ennis, our own connoisseur.
That's sensational.
Isn't that good? You know, he called that a jalapeno topping. I didn't get the sense of jalapeno heat, but it's really nicely flavored.
Great flavor.
Yeah.
Well, heat is kind of the theme of the evening, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
I may be here for a while, so
there is some,
see if you can stretch it out for a while.
Some heat being tossed around.
Ozard, Richards, Ennis. Ground ball to third. At Dominguez. 1 out. We've just lost Bart for the rest of the evening.
Bart's back there grunting like
I'll be back later.
He's never enjoyed anything quite like this.
He doesn't get to do this during Rockets games, you know.
I don't imagine.
David Freese struck out in the second inning. The way this game has started, it's going to be interesting to see how the runs score. And if there are very many of them, there's strike one. These guys are both locked in.
Well, the breaking balls from both pitchers extremely sharp.
Ground ball, and that's a foul ball. Just wide of third. No balls, 2 strikes for David Freese. According to Pitch FX, Jared Cozart has averaged 94 miles per hour on his fastball, and that is 8th among all major league starters.
Been right about there tonight too. He's steadily been at 95, but occasionally drops off.
And his mound opponent is averaging 95.9, which is first.
And he has probably been all over that 97 number the majority of heaters tonight.
Curve balls very sharp too from both these right-handers.
Now, Cozart hasn't thrown what you'd call a slider at all tonight. Richards has thrown a few and seems to reserve that for a big strikeout.
It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Come on, coach. Here we go. Come on, kid.
Again, my impression on Cozart, sharpest I've seen him for a while.
Yes. Of course, his debut at Tampa Bay was dynamic last year. Ground ball fair. And that one kicks out toward center field. Marwin runs it down, fires into second base. Altuve with the tag. Oh, safe was the call there as Freese got the call from Jerry Meals, the crew chief at second base. Looked like the ball beat him, but the question remains of whether Jose Altuve was able to tag Freese or not.
Yeah, the ball definitely beat him, Brownie, and that tag of Altuve, he snapped it down pretty good. But I think he snapped it toward where the right hand was anticipated to reach to the bag, and I have a feeling it's the left hand. Let's see if we can see what goes on here. Well, left hand eventually on the bag. That's pretty darn close. Get that glove down. Don't reach. Wow. Don't know if you can turn that around, but I'm not so sure that he didn't get him right there. Yeah, if you stop reaching and put the glove in front of the bag and then just move it in adjustment, it's a very nice job by Freese.
Yes, it is. And Bo Porter went out, and he is not challenging this call. Freese gets a double, his 4th of the year.
Now, we've seen this play repeat itself, and there's that reaching effort that tends to happen for Jose. That would be probably the only part of his game that I'd say could maybe get a little better, get that glove snapped down. I mean, he's been that good that you're nitpicking when you say something couldn't get better.
Raul Ibanez looks at ball 1. Big lead at off second for Freese, but Marwin's playing well behind him, in fact in shallow center field, so he can take that liberty off second base. Ibanez has really struggled with the bat this year. .253 on base average. He pulls it, and there's Altuve in shallow right field, throwing him out. Freese to third, 2 down.
One more peek at that tag at second base from the right field side. You can see that the ball is well ahead of the runner, and I would say based on that view that Altuve may have gotten the out, but it's so close I don't think it would be overturned. But if you take that glove down, drop it to the dirt right in front of the bag, and then just adjust as the slide comes in, then you've got something.
C.J. Cron from Fullerton, California, went to the University of Utah. His father Chris played for the Angels and the White Sox, and currently is managing in the Detroit minor league system. Cron takes a look at it, and it's ball 1. C.J., 24 years old. He played at AA Arkansas last year, drove in 83 runs. His father Chris didn't do much hitting in the big leagues, wasn't there very long. Had 2 hits and 25 at bats. C.J. had more hits than that in his debut. He went 3 for 5. It's 1-1 to C.J. Cron.
Well, I bet a guy who gets 25 at bats in the big leagues remembers every one of them.
Yeah. Cron had another 3-hit game last Thursday. And fouls that one. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He is the DH tonight. He was a first-round pick in 2011.
I wonder if Jared Cozart is learning anything about his pitching performance with tonight's performance. That sudden ability now to get into and stay in the strike zone. Obviously the curveball's there, but it's kind of the command of the fastball that's intriguing.
The line shot to right field, and the Angels grab the lead 1-0. Backhanded by Springer. RBI single by Cron. A 2-out, 2-strike hit, giving Cron his 12th run batted in. 1-0 Halos.
fastball up out over the plate is often left with only one response for a hitter. That's to drive it the other way. And just a perfect approach by Cron.
The number 8 hitter comes through for Mike Scioscia. That's 3 hits for the Angels tonight. And Conger follows. Conger struck out in the 3rd inning. Cozart delivers ball 1. And tomorrow night, Astros pregame live is on at 5:30. The game starts at 6:10, so we'll come on at 6 o'clock. And the Astros' first pick should be known by 6:05. Have that for you shortly after coming on the air tomorrow night. It's 2-0.
Well, they say the Astros are now on the clock.
I think they do say that, as a matter of fact, in the baseball draft. So will it be high school left-handed pitcher Brady Aiken? Will it be the lefty from North Carolina State, Carlos Rodon? The catcher outfielder from Southern California, Alex Jackson? Will it be Tyler Kolek, Shepherd, Texas? Too far up the road here.
Those are the 4 names. I haven't heard anything beyond those 4. Have you?
I've heard a couple of others who don't seem to be on that plateau. Nick Gordon, high school shortstop in Florida, who's the son of Tom Flash Gordon, major league pitcher, and Aaron Nola, right-hander from LSU. But they're not thought to be up on that top tier. Fly ball out to left field. Alex Presley moving in. To end the Angel 5th, they get a run on 2 hits and leave a man. They lead 1-0. By AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. And by Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi Motors invites you to find your own lane. It's a warm night outside. The air conditioning on in. The Angels won the Astros 0 inside Minute Maid Park. We go to the bottom half of inning number 5. Fans have been watching a pitching duel. The Angels just breaking through with a 2-out 2-strike single in the top of the 5th by C.J. Cron, scoring David Freese. Now it's Chris Carter in the bottom half. He struck out in the 2nd inning against Garrett Richards. Richards has allowed 3 hits. He struck out 7. And the breaking pitch goes for ball 1 on Carter, to be followed by Presley and Gonzalez.
A little debate going on here in the booth. Maybe the best stuff we've seen all year from a starting pitcher.
It would be hard to come up with anybody better.
And Cozart's been just a notch behind in terms of velocity, maybe not behind in terms of overall stuff, but this is impressive.
It's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Astros have been shut out 5 times this year. Of those, Richards would stand up to any of those pitchers, I think, with the stuff that he has. And he hits the leadoff man, Chris Carter, on the left arm.
Logic says that's the last thing that Richards wanted right there.
Here's young Tyler Kolek, a high school senior at Shepherd High School, about an hour from Houston. He's been heavily scouted. He throws 100 miles per hour.
Now that at 93, that looked alive coming to the plate. That fastball, 94. So when you hear 100, and I've heard as high as 102, I wonder how legit that number is. And we're seeing 93, 94. That's a good fastball nonetheless, but it's not Garrett Richards-like, at least in terms of those pitches.
Alex Presley popped a second earlier. It's strike one. And Kolek is right in the mix to be that #1 overall pick just less than 24 hours from now. The Astros will get an additional pick after the first round, a compensation pick. That's a fly ball to left field, and that is a sliding play, and Ibanez got there for out #1. Like a hit off the bat, but Raul could still move around a little bit.
Yeah, you wouldn't anticipate he's going to win a Gold Glove out there this year, but nice play right here.
Now 1 out, and Marwin Gonzalez bats. Marwin hit a fly ball to center in the 3rd inning.
You know, Brownie, how they sometimes say you can't eat just one, referring to maybe a potato chip?
Is that true?
Have you ever found that to be the case?
Yes, definitely.
I'm finding it to be the case.
We've lost you and Bart then.
Bart's long gone.
We're wheeling you two guys out of here tonight. There's strike one.
It's just a good thing Julia's not here tonight. Just informed that there may have been a hijacking prior to the food getting up here.
Is she rejoining the crew in Minneapolis, St. Paul?
I believe so, yes.
It's one of them.
Apparently there's some impressive food in Arizona. I imagine there's some good stuff in Minnesota. Their press dining lounge is, in my estimation, as good as it gets right now.
Okay.
That was the side of pork chop on a stick.
Runner going. It's tapped back to the mound. Richards with the toss to first base to Pujols. 2 outs. Carter to second base.
And Lowe's will never stop improving, and neither does Dexter Fowler. Talking about his on-base percentage, and yeah, he does it with the bat. He does it with his legs. He's done it with good eyes, keen eyesight throughout the course of the season. Flaring some balls down the left side. Of course, we're getting to see the bat portion of the program. But there's the 5-hole that only Dexter can find.
Now as it comes up, it's an RBI possibility for him with that double and the single, making him 2 for 2 in this one. Altuve on deck. That's in for strike one. That's the slider you talked about earlier from Richards.
Yeah, he just kind of hung this one, and a lot of pitchers will do that. Guys who have confidence to throw just a get-me-over breaking ball to start things. Hitters are going up to the plate, generally speaking, looking for a fastball.
Foul ball makes it 0-2. Well, the Astros will make 3 selections total tomorrow. They have the 37th pick overall in the competitive balance A round. That's a pick they received from the Orioles in the Bud Norris trade. And then they have the 42nd overall pick at the start of the 2nd round.
They're going offense or defense, Brownie?
They're going to look at special teams also, but not sure. A kicker's always a possibility.
That is, yeah.
A little chop goes back to Richards. And he'll toss him out. No runs and One man left in the 5th inning. It's 1-0 Angels.
The Lines is brought to you by Scotch Blue Painter's Tape. Scotch Blue, see what you can do. Jared Cozart, that filthy over-the-top curveball has been dominating at times tonight. He's had a good fastball. That with a little bit of cut. We haven't seen a whole lot of that this evening. But we've seen a sharp fastball from Jared, and Garrett Richards has just been outstanding. Spotting the ball on top of throwing as good a velocity as you'll see from a starter anywhere, anytime.
That makes it 1-0 Angels after 5. Here's the 6th inning, and Calhoun looking at strike one. Cole has fanned both times tonight. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Cozart. Got his first win here over the Yankees, 3-1. He had 5 shutout innings in his opening start of the year. He threw 88 pitches in those 5. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now the 3rd time through the order, the hitters are seeing some different offerings from Cozart.
Brownie, I just heard from the great Sarah Eckert, who is talking about Tyler Kolek, and she said she's gotten word from his coach that he will steadily go 100+ miles an hour and take it deep into a ball game. So I trust Sarah.
His dad is a ranch manager. It's a foul ball, and Castro took that one.
So it's country strong is what it is then.
Yeah. Works on the ranch with his dad.
You want to put on the tools behind the plate. Be ready. Sometimes it'll throw your jaw one side to another. That appeared to hit pretty straight on, and I have a feeling that was just a concussion type feel on the job. Don't mean brain concussion at all.
Baker immediately grabbed him. 1-2 to Cole Calhoun.
Really had to ask myself about all the shots to the head through the years.
Struck him out. All right, will it be Brady Aiken, the 1-1 pick for the Astros tomorrow night? Young left-hander from Southern California, 17 years old, reminds some people of Gulp Clayton Kershaw. And that probably doesn't serve anybody that young very well to compare him with one of the superstars of the game, but that's what people do, right?
I tell his catcher to stay down when you've called a curveball. It's coming down. Don't keep coming up on the thing, but very impressive curveballs there. I wanted to see the heat.
Well, he's low to mid-90s guy from what we're reading. There's strike 1 to Ibar, 0 for 2. He could very well be the guy, but will the Astros want a high school player? That's the big question. Or will they want someone who's closer to being major league ready, a college player?
What do you think?
I don't know. I would think that they could afford, so to speak, to take a high school player because of the number of pitchers in the Houston minor league pipeline. They could wait for him to develop, so to speak. 1 ball, 1 strike, but it all depends on their judgment on how these guys project.
It is hush-hush around here. There's no question. Nobody gets a leak on any of this stuff.
That's grounded foul. Well,
and with the number 1 pick, the 1-1 that you refer to, it's kind of curious to me because nobody can jump you because you put information out there, but it is the way it is.
Well, there are a lot of things in the mix, and according to some stories we've read, the last 2 years when the Astros had the first overall pick, they didn't know until the final few minutes who it would be.
Is that based on signability, or?
I think they had a lot of discussions going. That's a soft liner up the right field line, and that's in for a hit. Springer comes over. It's extra bases for Ibar, and he's in with a double. That's hit number 4 for the Halos.
Sometimes good curveballs get hit. Now, this ball was not raked by any means, well placed, but that's a good curveball. Look at the glove of Castro. He's going to the knees to block this thing, and yet that curveball handled by Ibar. There are some pitchers that I've heard through the years say nobody can hit my curveball, and they believed it, but it's not exactly accurate. Good major league hitters have a way.
Ibar at second with 1 out for Albert Pujols. Pujols is 1 for 2. He ripped a single off Altuve's glove and on through into center field. He became the first Angel base runner with 2 outs in the 4th. His 11 straight, retired by Cozart to start the game tonight. There's ball 1. Well, last year the Astros took Mark Appel with their first pick. Andrew Thurman, a right-handed pitcher, with pick number 2. Both of them are 22 years old. Their 3rd pick, another college lefty, Kent Emanuel, 21 years old. So they did favor the older player last year.
And Thurman's been good.
Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's that very tiny little cut. Now, he can command that. That could be a very critical pitch for him.
Looking at the college players they took last year, they've done well this year. Infielder Conrad Gregor, infielder Tony Kemp, catcher Brian Holbertson. They're all doing well in the Astros system.
Kemp has been tearing it up.
Yes, he has. 2 balls and strike. So the college player is more projectable. He has played against a higher caliber of competition, and he's played longer.
Yep. Yeah, he's at that stage where you kind of know what kind of player, or you should be close anyway to knowing what kind of player he can be.
But the high school player may have what they call a higher ceiling.
I love the vaulted ceilings, I'll tell you that. Get it up there, and you get the George Springer type that, again, you don't know ultimately what you have quite yet, but you do know that you've got a ceiling that is just sky high. He's been impressive, and he's had his struggles. There's the curveball pre-grip from Jared Cozart. It's much easier to turn that grip into the fastball grip as opposed to going the other direction.
That one got away. And Pujols takes the walk. Here's our minor league report now, and it's brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Showing you Mark Appel, Andrew Thurman, Ken Emanuel, Conrad Gregor, Tony Kemp, the top 5 picks from last year's draft, and they were all college guys.
Tony Kemp, in my estimation, probably fell that far because of his size. He's quite a small guy, but like Jose Altuve, small guys can be some very special packages. I have a feeling Kemp might be one of those guys.
He might be. You see, a couple of those top 5 have already been promoted to Lancaster this season. And here again, because of their level of competition in college, they're on a faster track than a high school player normally would be. Hamilton, the batter now, first and second, 1 out. He's 0 for 2, a ground out and a strikeout. And then you think of pitchers like David Clyde, who lives here in Houston.
1-1.
Rushed to the big leagues by the Texas Rangers. Hard throwing lefty. Ground ball first. Singleton steps on the bag. That's out number 2. And now we swing to the North Carolina State lefty, Carlos Rodon. And the Astros have been watching him carefully ever since last year's draft.
Yeah, along the way, in the recent half year or so, there have been concerns about Rodon, and I'm not exactly sure what those concerns are about. 92 on that fastball, so he's close in that range with the youngster from San Diego. But I'd love to know exactly what the concerns about Rodon might be. 95 on that high cheese.
Howie Kendrick, that's with 2 on and 2 out. Kendrick takes it. It's strike 1. He's grounded out both times tonight. But Kendrick is a dangerous hitter in a situation like this. 2 men in scoring position. He's hit .394 against the Astros this year, and .330 for his career against Houston. Fowler's over in right center. He hammers one to right field. That'll score 1. Springer with the throw, cut off by Singleton. 2-0 on the RBI single by Kendrick, his 25th run batted in.
And all you can do is feel fortunate that only 1 run scored. Albert Pujols, that trailing runner, just doesn't have the wheels anymore.
Kendrick drives in Ibar. Pujols to third for Freeze now. And Brent Strom is coming out.
And when this is all said and done, regardless of the outcome of the ball game, Jared Cozart needs to understand from everybody that this was a great outing. That's a curveball that hangs. But sometimes the good curveball low gets hit. Sometimes the hanger gets hit. Jared Cozart has worked it tonight the way you'd love to see time and time again. You've got a front line #1 ace type pitcher if he throws like this.
86 pitches for Cozart. Who holds the runner at third. Across the diamond, it's Kendrick at first with Freeze the batter. Freeze doubled in the 5th inning and scored on the single by Crone. He's 1 for 2. There's a lot of money about to be passed out to these draftees in the Major League Baseball draft. That's strike 1. Very exciting day coming tomorrow and continuing for the next couple of days.
Yeah, the money is certainly a big benefit if you're drafted early. But when you're drafted early, you also get the benefit of a lot more patience and a lot more pushing along to help that player get to the big leagues.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Nobody wants to waste a high pick.
And McDonald was the first overall pick years ago, the right-hander from LSU. He talked about the pressure, the expectations. Frank Robinson, the manager of Baltimore, saying we're going to need for him to win 20 games when he gets here. That's a heavy load to carry, and he admitted that it was very heavy for him. Fly ball into right center field. That's in for a hit to make it 3-0. Pujols scoring. The throw cut off by Gonzalez. Freeze with a 2-strike, 2-out hit. On 0-2, he found one he liked and got his 15th run batted in.
It's certainly come together for the Angels. You can see that pitch is right on the outside edge, maybe even beyond. One of those innings where the Angels just put it together. You'll see the throw from Dexter Fowler. Really does not possess a big time arm, to be sure, in center field.
Raul Ibanez with the shift on. Takes ball 1. Angels are 3 for 5 with runners in scoring position in this game. 2-out hit from Cron scored their first run, and now they have back-to-back 2-out run producing hits here in the 6th. They had a .263 team batting average with runners in scoring position and 2 outs coming into this game. All the way, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Lefty Darren Downs has gotten up in the Astros bullpen. Bo Porter last night moving to his bullpen after Colin McHugh went the first 5 in shutout fashion. He used Downs for 1 inning. He used Josh Fields, Tony Sipp, Kyle Farnsworth, and Chad Qualls in the 7-2 win after a day off. Up 2-1 to Ibanez.
Nice composure by Cozart. Delivered a quality pitch, didn't get the call.
This will be his 25th pitch of the inning. Bounced on 1 hop to Singleton for out number 3. 2-run scoring on 3 hits with 2 men left. It's 3-0 Angels.
Takes you inside the game as we look at a heat map of Jose Altuve's contact at the plate. And you can see the red area, that's where most of the balls he hits are found all over the place. You go to the secondary, that goldish green color, you can see a number of pitches he hits out of the strike zone, and in the purple beyond that, even further out of the strike zone. He's capable of handling anything, and inside, outside, down, up. One of the reasons he's put up such great numbers this year.
0 for 2 tonight. They're taking ball 1 upstairs. Garrett Richards, who now has been spotted with a 3-0 lead. Altuve with a strikeout, and he bounced into a force play. This grounder in the hole, backhanded. Ibar zips a throw to Pujols in time to get him.
Do not delay with Altuve going down the line. George Springer, the contact is a much tighter zone, and he is offered on far fewer pitches out of the strike zone. And yet George, with that high strikeout rate right now, but you can see he does tend to destroy the pitches right there in the heart of the plate.
Springer has struck out twice. The second time he was caught looking. That's strike 1.
He's come back to Minute Maid Park, and suddenly that swing and a miss is back in play in a large fashion.
First pitch strikes to 18 of 21 by Garrett Richards.
George took a batting practice early on that recent road trip, where all of a sudden, instead of launching balls out of the ballpark and putting on a display, he started hitting some balls back up the middle, on the right side, on the ground. And I felt like that really put him in position to have the great success he had.
Hit by the pitch on 0-2. Second hit batsman of the night for Richards.
I will say that display in batting practice has gone back to a display. I mean, it's awe-inspiring, but I'm not sure it's exactly what's working out for the games for him.
3-0 lead for the Angels. Here's Castro now. Jason single to right in the fourth. He's 1 for 2. Astros second on the club in runs batted in. He's driven in 21 in his last 33 games. Richards has given up just 2 homers this year, more than 70 innings. Bounce foul. Tarek Brock, strike 1.
Ronnie, did you get the word that Don Zimmer has passed away?
Just reading that on Twitter. 83 years old, baseball legend. Zimmer was Bean. He played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Took a pitch to the head, wore a metal plate in his head for the rest of his life. Would joke about the fact that he couldn't go through airports. Great sense of humor, tremendous storyteller. Lifelong baseball man.
You know, there's a tweet here from Vernon Wells. I don't think Vernon's still playing. I'm not sure, but great player. Handful or more years back. But he says Don Zimmer was always one of those guys you went out of your way to say hi to on the field. And I agree. Don was kind of one of those larger than life guys.
He really was. He went to Western Hills High School in Cincinnati, the same high school Pete Rose attended. And Eddie Brinkman, a longtime Major League shortstop, also came from Western Hills, so that school was very well known. Shortstop Ibar drifts out for it. And that's out number 2. Singleton will come up next. Richards with a 3-0 lead.
I was just going to say, things can turn on a dime, as we all know, but you have to really hand it to Garrett Richards this evening. Stuff is great. Command is right with it.
He hasn't seemed to lose anything to this point. He's needed only 71 pitches. Singleton has struck out. He's flied to right. He could put a spark in this game with a swing like the one he had last night. Fouls it back. He joined 3 other Astros who have homered in their major league debuts in Astros uniforms. Ken Caminetti in 1987. David Matranga in 2003 and Mark Sacamano in 2008. It was a very warm day today. Now it was yesterday as well, and the roof opened late in the game last night. After it opened, each team hit 2 homers in the 8th inning last night. That's a great play by Conger. 1-2.
I didn't watch the flags last night. A lot of times when the roof is open here at Minute Maid Park, those flags will blow right up out over the railroad tracks and left.
Yes, they will.
It is nice work by Conger.
In case you're wondering, the Astros can't just open the roof when they're batting. They have to open it after an inning has ended. Pitch just off the plate, takes the count to 2-2. I asked John Singleton before the game tonight, have you always been selective in the strike zone? He said, yes, pretty much. And that kind of confirms what we've talked about, Ash, all season long. That's usually something a hitter has at an early age, that selectivity, or he doesn't have it.
Tends to make contact with most of his swings. He's got the classic power stroke.
He takes that close one. It's 3-2 now, and with 2 outs, the runner will be moving.
Yeah, I think this Minute Maid Park could serve extremely well the powerful left-hand hitter. Right field is not deep straight away. Left field so reachable when you kind of poke it one away. It could work out ideal here for a guy like Singleton.
First full count of the night for Garrett Richards. Springer goes, and it's fouled back.
And he gets a piece of a 3-2 curveball.
Last night he got a green light on a 3-0 count, where he wound up walking. A run scored. He confirmed that he wasn't seeing a whole lot of strikes to hit at Oklahoma City before his call-up. Incidentally, there are rumors that the Pirates' top prospect, outfielder Gregory Polanco, is going to be called up very soon by them. Ground ball, Kendrick. That ends the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, and a man left. And 3-0 Angels as we look back at the life of Don Zimmer.
With the Angels still on top 3-0. Enjoy a Father's Day picnic on the field at Minute Maid Park on June 15th after the 1:10 p.m. game against Tampa Bay. Admission includes a game ticket, post-game picnic buffet on the outfield, autograph session, and a lot more. For tickets, go to Astros.com/picnic. That is one of my favorite things the team does, guys, because families get to get out on the field and really enjoy what a beautiful ballpark this is and just have fun with the family. It's great.
It sure is. They've had a lot of enjoyable hours when you add them all together for the last few picnics in the park. 3-0 ball game. C.J. Cron, the batter. He drove in the first run with a single to right field. And Darren Downs continues to throw in the Astros bullpen. Ball 1 from Cozart. The Angels got 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th inning, and they've had 6 hits off Cozart. Deals, and it's a 1-1 strike count. He's closing in on 100 pitches. 23,902 is the attendance tonight.
Cron jumped away on a pitch that appeared to be kind of center cut right there.
And now flails at the curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Conger's on deck. Calhoun due up 3rd in the inning. dirt for ball two. The Angels are 30-27. They're 5.5 games behind the pace-setting Oakland A's in the AL West. Oakland just swept the Angels before the Angels came here. They're on a long road trip. They're 2-6 so far. Into left field. Cron reached out and pulled it. And he's aboard with his second hit of the night. So here's a look at the AL West as it is at the moment.
I think clearly Oakland is the class of the division, but notice that only the Astros are playing below 500 in the division. That means this is turning into kind of what people were talking about pre-last year, maybe one of the best divisions in baseball.
Yeah, tightly packed, like Socia's club should, barring all kinds of injuries, stay in the hunt, wouldn't you think?
I would think so, especially when you consider that they've pitched so much better than the anticipation this year.
Strike one to Conger. Conger's 0 for 2.
Lots going to come down to the back of Mike Trout, I would think. And can Josh Hamilton get himself healthy and stay there?
Yeah. Certainly two key guys in the mix. Conger 0 for 14 on this current road trip. Gets back in the box with an 0-1 count. It's Cleveland 1, Boston nothing. They're only in the top of the second. There must have been a rain delay there.
The Indians have gotten hot.
They're now 1 game under 500, 29-30. Runner going, and it's tap foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Oakland leads the Yankees 5-4. They're in the top of the 8th inning at Yankee Stadium. And a rain delay at Washington. And the Nationals lead the Phillies 8-4 in that one. In the top of the 9th at Detroit, the Blue Jays lead the Tigers 6-2. And it's Miami 5-3 at Tampa Bay in the top of the 9th inning.
Life has not been all that easy recently for the Tigers.
Not at all. Nathan struggling. Strikeout of Conger. Number 7 for Kozar.
Changeup has come into play for a couple of strikeouts tonight.
Yeah, he's shown some different wrinkles the third time through the order here on these hitters. Been a good night, but the Astros have not found a way to score off Richards, so Kozar just trying to keep the door slammed here after giving up 3. He'll face Calhoun, who has struck out all 3 times. Ball 1 up. Giants lead at Cincinnati. It's 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Baltimore, Texas are tied 5-5 at Arlington. They're in the 6th. While the Mets lead the Cubs at Wrigley 4-2 in the 5th. There's a throw to first. Minnesota will welcome Houston over the weekend. And we see Kyle Farnsworth getting up now for the Astros. The Twins are leading Milwaukee right now 4-1 in the bottom of the 6th at Target Field. While it's St. Louis 2, Kansas City nothing in the top of the 7th in KC. Foul ball makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Cole Calhoun.
Back-to-back changeups. I don't know if this is Jared Kozar starting to feel that pitch or deciding maybe it's time to work on it.
.103 pitches now for Kozar. He gets a strike there on Calhoun. It's 1-2. By the way, Sarah Eckert was texting that she wrote that story on the website, CSN Houston website, about Tyler Kolek. And she did an extensive story on him. And his coach said he regularly hit 100 miles per hour. He's been able to maintain his velocity deep into games. In 60 1/3 innings this year, he had 8 walks and 126 strikeouts. Sounds like Josh Beckett type numbers.
You don't anticipate that with the big guy.
That's a liner into center field for a hit. And the Angels with Crone moving to second on the single by Calhoun. Stir it up now with Ibar following.
Fastball right there dropping down to 92 miles an hour. So it would appear that Cozart has weakened as the night has gone on.
105 pitches right now for Jared. His tops is 113. That was at Texas in his third start of the year, April 12th. Kyle Farnsworth warming up. Cozart now versus Ibar. Ibar is 1 for 3. He doubled to right in the 6th inning. And Pujols is on deck. Seattle shut out Atlanta in Atlanta 2-0 as Iwakuma got the win. He goes to 4-2, and Fernando Rodney got his 16th save, beating Mike Minor. Sashi Iwakuma, quite a pitcher. Strike to Ibar.
Early dividends for the Yankees.
San Diego clipped the Pirates 3-2. Ian Kennedy the winner. He's 5-6. Houston Street got his 18th save. How about that Jason Lane game last night?
10 straight hitters retired by Lane.
Boy. Well, the former Astro outfielder has reinvented himself as a left-handed reliever. He pitched for the Sugar Land Skeeters last year. And he was a AAA earlier this year. Now the Padres have called him up, and he made whale of a big league debut as a pitcher last night.
Always had a good, strong throwing arm.
37 years old now.
Can you think of anybody else who's ever done what Jason's doing?
Just trying to think of somebody. No. Ibar strikes out.
Great guests, hot topics, and no holds barred debate. Kevin Eschenfelder serves it up fresh every single night on Sports Talk Live, every weeknight at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. Tomorrow night's guests are Nick Wright, Adam Wexler, and Richard Justice from Minute Maid Park. Big boys are going to be out here.
Yeah. RJ will be covering the draft, of course, for MLB.com. Now, Bo Porter is out. It's going to be Pujols batting with runners at first and second and 2 outs. He has the lefty Darren Downs in the bullpen. And Kyle Farnsworth has been throwing. And he'll go. He was buying some time, it would appear, as he chatted with Cozart. He's going to go to Farnsworth, who has not had a whole lot of time. Downs was up quite some time ago. But he wanted to give Farnsworth a couple of extra tosses, and now to be the big right-hander coming in. Fans deservedly so giving Cozart a nice round of applause as he exits with the score. The Angels 3, the Astros nothing. Back in a moment.
Celebrate Faith and Family Night with your Houston Astros Saturday, June 14th, following the 3:10 p.m. game. That's against Tampa Bay's Rays, and it features a post-game concert with Christian rock band Mercy Me. For tickets, visit Astros.com/faith.
Kyle Farnsworth comes out of the Houston bullpen wearing number 44. He's been on a good string of appearances lately. 5 straight scoreless outings for Farnsworth. That included his appearance last night for 1/3 of an inning. He needed only 2 pitches to get the 1 out he got with the 5-2 lead in the 8th inning and a man on base. He's 3 for 4 in saves. He began the season with the Mets.
Still got that big time arm. Now, I actually was surprised as he joined Houston at how strong his arm still appears to be. But I think his size, his frame, the angle that he brings it to the plate, maybe he's looked on as now a tough at bat for Pujols.
Pujols looks at ball 1. Albert 1 for 2 with a walk. Cozart struck out 8, by the way, in his 6 2/3 innings. That ties a career high for Jared. He threw 108 pitches, 77 were strikes. Very good outing for Jared Cozart tonight. Going up against Richards with what Richards has brought to the mound tonight, he was really not able to make very many mistakes. 2 balls and no strikes, and yet, you know, a few mistakes could be acceptable certainly in a game like this. He trails 3-0. He's given up 8 hits, but seems like this can spin out of control. That's why Farnsworth comes in to give the Astros a fresh arm. And it's a 2-1 count.
Keep it 3-0. The Astros, with some newfound big bats, can jump back in a game rather quickly.
Dominguez, Carter, and Presley due up in the bottom half of the inning. Pujols lays off and works the count to 3-1. John Heyman has his mock draft for tomorrow. He thinks that Aiken will be the Astros pick. Left-handed pitcher Brady Aiken.
That's who most people seem to be picking, and therefore I'm thinking it might go another direction.
He says Rodon will be number 2, Pollock number 3.
Really? So all pitchers in the top 3. There's something about just having seen a couple of swings from the catcher Jackson that I find intriguing. High schooler, and so a long way to go in his development, but boy, you'd hate to miss out on Craig Biggio and Joe Mauer and Gary Carter if that pick was out there. I don't know that it's there, though.
Good point. 3-2, the runners set sail, and it's grounded to third. Dominguez with the throw across to Singleton to end the top of the 7th with no runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. It's 3-0 Angels.
Time now for the AT&T Rewind. It's about Garrett Richards tonight. He's deserving. Great stuff right from pitch 1 for the Angels' big right-hander. He's had a terrific fastball, 97, pretty steadily throughout the night. The slider and curveball right with it, and he's made life very tough on Astros hitters.
And now can they break through? That becomes the question. Or will it be an Angel bullpen trying to rescue the night? 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs. He hasn't walked anybody. He has hit 2 batters. And with 7 strikeouts, he has really had some dynamic stuff tonight. Matt Dominguez leads it off. He has whiffed twice in this game. First time he was caught looking, then he went down swinging in the 4th. And that's up for ball 1 and still maintaining that velocity at 95. Richards falls behind 1-0. He has been a tough customer tonight. Dominguez with a fly ball and the right fielder back, Calhoun. 1 out in the home 7th inning. Richards bearing down, trying to get win number 5 of the season. Will face Chris Carter. Carter struck out. He was hit by a pitch. And this for Richards after failing to make it through the 1st inning in his last start at Oakland. On Friday, he was raked for 5 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Lost that game with strike 1. And sometimes a pitcher will find that that is a positive for him. He will be very determined for that next start. He threw only 37 pitches last time out. And that could be helpful too, because his arm should be fresher for the next time around. No balls, 2 strikes.
Maybe not the most joyous 5 days to be around as he awaits that next start.
Very good point. Carter grounds to 3rd, backhanded, Freeze. 2 out. And Presley will bat next. The Astros have a Fowler double in the 1st, a Fowler single in the 3rd, a Castro single in the 4th.
It's definitely been a thorough throttling tonight.
It really has. Presley has popped a second and hit a looping liner to left. Ibanez with a sliding catch on that one. Strike. This could be the 8th time this year Richards has gone 7 innings in a start. He's allowed no more than 2 runs and 5 hits in each of his 6 starts on the road. 3-1 with a .250 road ERA. Certainly this road venue has been extremely kind to him. 2-0 at Minute Maid Park with a 1.29 earned run average. Upstairs, ball 2. C.J. Wilson was treated brutally by the Astros last night. He was the loser, giving up 5 earned runs in 2 2/3 innings. Tonight, the Angels getting a much different story from their starting pitcher. Tyler Skaggs going tomorrow. Skaggs 4-3 with a 4.14 ERA. Breaking pitch brings a swing from Presley. That takes the count to 2-2. Jared Weaver, C.J. Wilson, both 6-game winners. They lead the Angels staff. Richard shooting for his 5th. Skaggs will have a chance to notch number 5 himself tomorrow night. That's an earlier start at 6:10, remember. Bounced out to second for Kendrick. On over to first for a 1-2-3 7th. We move to the 8th, 3-0 Halos.
going, and the Angels have a 3-0 lead as we move to the 8th. As promised earlier in the game, we had the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tonight, Jeff Blogwell is hanging out with two of his best friends. Tweet your photo to hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by our friends at AT&T. You guys have gotten to know Jeff Blogwell quite well, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been in touch. The creative tweets that we get.
Kind of feels like we hang.
Yeah, we hang. Josh Hamilton leads it off against Kyle Farnsworth here in the 8th inning. 3-0 Angels. They've out-hit the Astros 8-3. No errors in the game tonight. Farnsworth got the final out, retiring Pujols with 2 men on in the 7th inning. Close the book on Cozart. We'll give you his numbers. As Hamilton, who's 0 for 3, puts it in the air. Fowler going for it. Presley is there. Presley has it. 1 down for Farnsworth. For Cozart, 6 2/3 innings tonight. 8 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. 108 pitches, 77 strikes. Really a good night for Jared. Kendrick is 1 for 3. He drove in run number 2 with a single to right field. The Angels have really done a job hitting with 2 outs. Crone with the RBI single in the 5th. Kendrick and Freese back-to-back 2-out hits, driving in runs in the 6th. And strike 1 to Kendrick. The Astros have Gonzalez, Fowler, and Altuve due up in their 8th inning. Hamilton hitless tonight, 0 for 4. He had a 12-game hitting streak at Minute Maid Park. That may have ended. 1-1. For Hamilton and Pujols really had a romp hitting in this ballpark down through the years. Bounce foul. Farnsworth gave up 2 runs in his first outing with the Astros here against the White Sox May 17th. None since then. Well-traveled right-hander. The Astros fitting him into the back end of this bullpen after the Mets released him. Houston has restructured its bullpen right now. Things have gone well. That bullpen has a 1.42 ERA in the last 20 games. That's strike 3 call. 35-year-old right-hander gets out number 2.
Yeah, there are times when bullpens get overlooked, but the bullpen has been key for the club. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Join the millions of subscribers by visiting Astros.com for your details.
Now it's David Freese with 2 outs. And he looks at that one for ball 1. Freese with 2 for 3 tonight and an RBI, having a good night of it. It's 1-1. There's been 1 complete game pitched against the Astros this season. That belongs to Angel Jared Weaver, who had a 2-hitter going the distance to beat them 2-1 in Anaheim May 21st. It's 2-1. At Peacock and Tyler Skaggs tee it up tomorrow night at 6:10. Then the Astros head for the first leg of a 2-city road trip, 3 in Minnesota over the weekend, and then 2 in Arizona. Back home for 2 more with Arizona to start the next homestand. As the back-to-back interleague games come your way. And as Ash told us last night, the Astros hitters had a chance to get in the cage. The Astros pitchers, rather, had a chance to hit before the game yesterday, getting set for those interleague games in the National League Park in Phoenix. Chase Field. Good pitch there. Hits the edge, and that makes it 3-2 now.
It's always a fun time for the pitchers. They love their competitions with the bat.
Certainly injects a different element into it. I think American League managers really cringe, though, over interleague play in the National League parks, Ash.
I think that's true. I think that a manager and the staff can really fear the possibility of a pitcher getting injured, even when they call upon a pitcher to bunt. Remember Don Sutton getting hit by a running fastball in when he turned to bunt one time. And yeah, there are some rare moments that come up.
That's a 2-out walk to Freeze, bringing up Ibanez. I'll never forget Tommy Lasorda just came unglued one time. The Dodgers were playing the Reds, and Dodger shortstop Bill Russell bunted. Had his finger wrapped around the bat. The pitch hit his finger, and the umpire ruled that he was out. He bunted. They got him out, but his finger was broken. He was in all kinds of pain, and Lasorda argued that it should have been a hit batsman, but it wasn't.
Well, it's just like if a hitter swings and gets drilled right in the chest. It's not a hit batter. And so if Billy Russell was deemed to have bunted at the ball, that would be the same as a swing.
That's right. Colin Cowgill is the pinch runner for Freeze. Ground ball rolls to Dominguez right. He makes the long throw across to Singleton to get Ibanez. And it's no runs, no hits. It's 3-0 Yankees.
Something going against Garrett Richards here as we move to the bottom of the 8th. Every Thursday home game at Minute Maid Park this season is Dollar Dog Thursday. The next Dollar Dog Feast is tomorrow against these Angels. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or go to astros.com. How about you guys? You want some more dogs up there?
No, we're good.
I'll have some sent up for you.
No, that's all right.
All right.
Josh
How about
Hamilton?
some Tums?
No, well, maybe.
2 packs, please.
Josh Hamilton has moved to left field. Colin Cowgill stays in the game to play center field. And John McDonald at third base for David Freese. The Astros come up in the home 8th inning. Marwin Gonzalez the batter. And there's strike one. He is over 2. We're looking back through the scorebooks at dominant games pitched against the Astros. You see McDonald at third. Other than tonight, Max Scherzer of Detroit beat the Astros 2-0 in Detroit. May 5th, he went 8 innings, giving up 3 hits, no runs, had a walk and 9 strikeouts. That certainly is one of the dominant games, but Richards is fitting right into that company tonight. 0-2. And he has thrown only 90 pitches to this point. Scherzer needed 111 in his 8 innings in Detroit for what you want to make of the pitch count. And then you mentioned a Yu Darvish game.
April 11th at Arlington. 1-0. The Rangers won that one. Darvish worked 8 shutout.
So those are our nominations for the most powerful games against the Astros. You know, Martin Perez pitched 8 shutout innings against the Astros and beat them 1-0 in Texas, April 13th. That's right. We had 2 1-0 games in that series. Darvish and Perez. Of the 2, Darvish was the more overpowering with the 9 strikeouts in 8 innings you talked about.
You ever get into the game score thing for a starting pitcher?
Yes, but not in the last few months because you always do.
Well, it's nice how you divvy that out. Darvish got an 88 in that start April 11th. I'll check out the other ones.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's a good comparison. That's the way to do it, Ash. Don't just read pitching lines. Look at game scores for pitchers.
Now you're just,
that's what you do.
You're just toying with me. 84
no.
for the Scherzer game.
Okay, that's comparable. 3-2.
Of course, in terms of that game score, strikeouts are going to mean a lot too. If you're looking for dominance, that's a big part of it.
So you would go, it's a combination of what? Earned runs allowed, strikeouts, fewer walks.
Yeah, you know, I guess strikeouts are a part of it. I mean, reflect back to the Kerry Wood abusing of the Astros back in whatever year that was. His second major league start, I think.
Yep.
Strikeouts were clearly a part of that. I mean, it was actually comical at some point.
That was 98.
98.
That was a good Houston lineup. Yeah, that was one of the top game scores for a pitcher of all time.
The Astros were shut out on May 12th against Texas right here. That was Colby Lewis. He got a 61.
Yeah, he only went 5 2/3.
That's right.
So that doesn't really rank up with this game by Richards. There it is. Whoa, Marwin thought a leadoff walk, but it's strike 3 call by Jordan Baker. And strikeout number 8.
Yeah, I don't know that catches the corner. I think Marwin has room for a beef right here.
Yeah, Marwin and Marvin Gaye might join in that chorus of what's going on, because that one did seem to be off the plate.
Nicely done, Browning.
You remember that one?
Oh, sure.
Dexter Fowler's 2 for 3. Double and a single for Dexter.
Don't know that Marwin felt like singing it all right there.
No. That's strike 1. Joe Smith warming up for the Angels. A career high for Richards. Well, strikeouts in a game is 9 against Texas May 3rd. He has 8 right now. 0-2.
So if you're going to play the game score thing, you Darvish with the 88 would be the high against the Astros this year. Again, April 11th at Texas.
Okay.
James Shields had an 80 on the 17th of April.
Yeah, he struck out 12 in 8 innings. Strikeout number 9 to tie his career high.
Create memories by treating your employees, hosting clients, or bringing your church or youth sports team to a game. We'll create an experience your group is sure to remember. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite today.
2 outs and it's Altuve batting. He's 0 for 3. Strike 1 call from Richards. Backup slider there, but he got a call on it. Roof has not rolled back tonight as it did last night in the late stages of the game. It's 1-1. Joe Smith warming up. He's the closer. It's a liner over shortstop and a hit. Altuve's aboard with his 80th hit of the season. First Astro hit since the 4th inning, and we go to Bart Ennis.
Thank you, Brownie. Just like we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And tonight we're talking about George Springer and the youthful energy he has brought to this dugout, the clubhouse, the team. He's a big dancer. He's got all the moves. John Singleton was telling me in the clubhouse before tonight's game that Springer's been doing this for a while now. Everywhere he goes, there's high energy. So if he can pull off something here, we're going to see a lot of dancing, guys.
We should get down there, Bart. Here's Springer now. He's 0 for 2. Hit by a pitch.
How did you mean get down?
Whoa, look at that play by Conger. He got down.
He did. Because if you mean dancing, count me out. Yeah, that's pulling one off.
Degree of difficulty. 7.2 from the Russian judge.
Yeah. Maybe deserved higher. I think Mike Scioscia might have said, why don't we try it this way?
You ever see Scioscia do it like that?
No.
1-1.
No, and I always revert back to Mike Matheny, who was just exceptional on that blocking game. But he would have been on his knees, sliding out there, centering the chest protector. It would have looked very different. The result would have been the same.
Springer looks at it. It's ball too high. Altuve does not have a big lead. Pujols is playing a step off the bag at first.
Don't think that was a bad pitch. I think that could have been called a strike. And George is starting to back away, and not that he did so on that one, but on pitches that are near the inside corner.
Two and two.
Stay on that pitch like you're hitting it to right center.
Garrett Richards, with his single season win total of 7 last year, his major league high, shooting for his 5th win of this season. That's rocked to center field. A deep drive, way back, and it's caught. Cowgill up on the hill with a tremendous catch. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Cowgill runs it down, going up on Tal's Hill to keep the Angels in front, 3-0. Another young piece to the puzzle through the draft. And the Astros close out their homestand tomorrow night. Pre-game live starts at 5:30 only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And now let's take a look at the pitching matchup for our next game tomorrow night. Brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. It'll be Tyler Skaggs. Outstanding right-hander for the Angels. Part of why they've been so good this year. 4-3 against Brad Peacock. And his last start was stellar. 1-4, 4.76 the ERA. If he pitches like the last start, those numbers are going to drastically change.
Now Jerome Williams, getting set to be pitcher number 3 for the Astros, is tuning up for the 9th inning. With a 1-2 record of 5.29 ERA, the former Angel has worked in 16 games.
Opposition hitters hitting .290 against Jerome. It's been a little bit of an uphill battle since the early goings, but Jerome starting to put it together. It's a tough role when you're that long guy in the bullpen.
And last time out, he worked 3 innings on Saturday against Baltimore, giving up 1 run on a home run to Nelson Cruz. That was a 46-pitch outing for Jerome. Farnsworth pitching well for an inning and a third. Walked 1 and fanned 1. It's C.J. Cron batting and taking strike 1. Quite a catch to end the 8th inning by Colin Cowgill up on Towles Hill on Springer's drive.
It was all in the jump and then the speed from Cowgill to make that play. I didn't think he had a chance on that ball. That wasn't your basic fly ball with that depth. That was a bullet.
Springer hit a screamer up on the hill. That ball really took off, and so did Cowgill. Bouncer, and there's Marwin.
Take a look at this. This ball just comes off the bat. And I don't know how Cowgill gets back this quickly, but he was streaking to that spot. Yeah. Altuve is thinking, you've got to be kidding me. And Springer, who's struggling, he's in a bit of a struggle here on this homestand. He knows he wanted that one, needed it. That's what it feels like. You need it.
And Conger is 0 for 3 tonight. We're still delayed in Washington with the Nationals in front of the Phillies 8-4 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Baltimore leads at Texas. It's 6-5 in the top of the 7th there. And that's strike 1. The Astros will have Castro, Singleton, and Dominguez 2 up in the last of the 9th inning. Altuve was positioned deeper at second base right before that pitch. 1-1. He backpedaled about 6 steps into right field, as you see. It's Arizona 4, Colorado 4, top of the 6th. 1-2 for Jerome Williams. Grew up in Hawaii. Former Giant. Oh, the Mariners winning 2-0 in Atlanta. They're now 31-28. So they're a half game behind this Angel club. Conger strikes out.
Nobody's told Seattle that they shouldn't be one of the front runners in this division.
Evidently not, Ash.
They'll throw some pretty good pitching at you.
Now with 2 outs, Cole Calhoun. 1 for 4. Miami edged Tampa Bay 5-4 tonight in St. Petersburg. The Rays dropping to 23-37. They have 2 fewer wins than the Astros and 3 more losses as of now. And, they were picked by some idiot to win the AL East.
Some guys just don't think it out.
Who was that guy?
Talk before they think. I don't know.
2 balls, no strikes. How could you pick Tampa Bay to win the AL East?
They just clearly didn't have a chance.
Well, the loser tonight, David Price, is now 4-5 with a 4.03 ERA. Tom Kohler beat him.
You know, there's just no way to anticipate injuries.
They had some of those to their pitching staff, especially.
Will Myers is out.
Yeah, he's out.
And he's had a real rough go.
Wrist. Strike, and it's 3-1. Cishek got his 13th save for Miami. The Marlins are now 31-28. Donovan Solano hit his first homer for Tampa Bay. Evan Longoria, number 6. Benjamin Zobrist, number 4. Toronto knocked off Detroit again, 8-2. The Blue Jays of John Gibbons at 36-24. R.A. Dickey, the winner, over Rick Porcello. That's a 2-out walk to Calhoun.
Yeah, if you ever like to root for a manager, John Gibbons, a Texas boy, and
he's a good guy.
Just a wonderful guy.
Lives in San Antonio. Nothing fake about him.
Not a bit, and he doesn't no pretentiousness with the media or anybody for that matter.
No, but he's mad at us.
Why is that?
Because we got through customs ahead of him.
Well, that's true. Of course, John was down there laughing. I think there were other members of their traveling group that were not too tickled.
Yeah, he was laughing it off, but there were some people with that Toronto club who were really incensed that the Astros got through customs leaving Toronto before their ball club.
Well, the Astros won that day, so I think they deserved it.
Ibar fouls it for strike one. Ibar with a double and a run scored in the 6th inning, 1 for 4. So R.A. Dickey now 6-4 with the Toronto win tonight, and Melky Cabrera not well. Both Cabrera's homered. Miguel hit one also. That one's hooked foul by Ibar.
Doesn't he always?
Yeah, Miguel hit number 11. Ian Kinsler number 5. Melky has 9 though. He's in a home run derby with Miguel.
I don't see Melky winning that one.
No balls, 2 strikes, 14 pitches for Jerome Williams.
Did you do the Texas game already?
Yes.
Adrian Beltre, a pair of home runs off of one Bud Norris in that game.
Did not see that on my website.
5 ribbies for Beltre.
Bounces. I saw a note on Twitter that Bud Norris got hit with a line drive on the pitching elbow. That's a wild pitch. And Calhoun moves to second base. The Baltimore club, 2 games over 500. Didn't seem to be pitching very well when they were here. It's not a solid starting rotation right now.
No, but they're going to score more runs than they have to this point, and therefore they might become better.
That AL East is tough to call right now. Think Toronto can hang at this pace for a while?
I could have told you all along they would lead.
Could have?
I just chose to go other way. Other directions, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, you did. You meandered out there somewhere.
Well, the Blue Jays, they can swing the bats, and they're going to hit a bunch of home runs. I didn't know that Mark Burley was going to turn into Cy Young.
No.
I guess none of us did.
Altuve unable to backhand it. It's on through into right center field to make it 4-0. And Ibar keeps running into second base with the RBI double. Second double of the night for Ibar. 16th of the year. He picked up his 32nd run batted in. Scoring.
Each run big for the Angels right now. Just makes the 9th inning all that much more difficult. I thought initially Altuve was going to get to this ball. Looked like he didn't get a great read on it. Watch the footwork. A little bit of a stutter step in there. Kind of a chop step like a guy going into first base. Springer got over nicely on that ball.
Hit number 9 for the Halos. Albert Pujols the batter. He has one of those hits, also a walk. Fouls it away. There's strike 1. Max Stassi hit home run number 6 last night for Oklahoma City, but that club lost to Memphis 6-3.
Did you mention that's 32 RBIs for Ibar?
Yes.
Wow.
That is rather surprising, isn't it? He was hitting, what, 9th last night?
Impressive for an unheralded shortstop.
It really is. He gets lost in the discussion of top shortstops around. Nolan Fontana reached base 5 times for the Corpus Christi Hooks last night. A 4-3 loss at Midland. 3 walks and 2 hits for Fontana. Delino DeShields picked up his 25th stolen base. He's tied for the lead in the Texas League right now. Time was called. Tommy Shirley has really had a year there for Corpus Christi. Gave up 1 run over 7 innings last night. His ERA is the 2nd best in the Texas League, 1.51. He's a left-hander, and Dan Radisson, who saw him recently, said he cuts the ball in on right-handed hitters. And it's a good-looking southpaw. It's 1-2. Carlos Correa drove in the go-ahead run in the 8th last night. He has a 7-game hitting streak for Lancaster. And he's hit .447 in his last 10 games with 13 runs batted in and 10 runs scored.
Yeah, he's proving to be a run producer, not just a guy who hits for average.
And a base stealer. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Saw a note tonight he stole another base. So we'll look up his stolen base total, but he's a 6'3" shortstop.
You know, Alex Rodriguez used to steal some bags.
Yeah.
Even up to his last years there with the Yankees. Not that he's not coming back, but we shall see.
Correa is 16 for 19 in base stealing.
And the only reason I bring up A-Rod is they remind me of each other when A-Rod was a youngster.
That comparison's been made by others. You know, there are several guys, and he is one of them, who are putting up big numbers here as we get not too far from the halfway point of the minor league seasons. And it wouldn't be at all surprising to see several more players promoted, as a few have been already, to jump up another level. Four, 9-0 for the Angels, 0-4-0 for the Astros. Pujols looks at it, and it's off the mid of Castro, and that allows the runner to advance to third. Ibar on ball 3.
That ball on the left side of a catcher, the glove side, is the one that by far will cause more pass balls. You don't get the end of the glove turned back toward the mound surrounding the ball. You'll reach out, the far end of the glove will hang open just a bit, and you just won't secure the baseball.
It was ruled a pass ball by Castro. Foul back by Pujols. Peacock and Skaggs tomorrow night. And the Astros move on. 5 games on the road before returning. This will be the 8th pitch coming for Jerome Williams to Pujols. Meanwhile, the bullpen action is on your monitor right there. Broken bat and a foul ball. Jerry DiSarcina, an outstanding shortstop. You have a problem feeling this broken bat.
Well, he fortunately used the Bob Uecker philosophy. Wait till it stops rolling and pick it up.
That's dangerous. Fernando Salas is that pitcher warming up for the Angels. Now back again by Albert Pujols. He's certainly on a Hall of Fame path in his career. And it would be shocking if he does not become a Hall of Famer. He shouldn't have to do much more in terms of massing numbers, right? He's over 500 homers. He's over 1,500 runs batted in.
He has already been presented the key, Brownie.
9 shot goes foul. Albert's 34 now. Even though he dropped off to a .258 average last year with 17 homers, 64 runs batted in, he should have already secured his place in Cooperstown. Unless the voters don't like something about him. .319 career batting average. But then we've seen that before.
I think he's already hired a decorator.
Fly ball out to right field. Springer backing and with the catch. That ends the top of the 9th inning. An 11 pitch at bat for Pujols. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left, 4-0 Angels.
Brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy helps recognize those who, despite their own needs, put others first. And Alan Ashby has done that with the tremendous food we've had up here in the booth. It's the Angels 4, Astros nothing. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and it's a pitching change for Mike Scioscia. Garrett Richards leaving after 8 innings of 4-hit shutout ball with no walks and 9 strikeouts. He gives way to Joe Smith. Smith is 2-0. His ERA is 3.18.
Did you find your needs fulfilled this evening?
Oh, very much so. And Mike Scioscia's needs are for 3 more outs. Smith would not get a save if he gets them, but he's become the closer with 5 saves and 9 opportunities. So
a couple of left-hand batters, Brownie, to start the inning against Joe Smith, a guy who has torn up right-hand hitters this year. Well, I'm thoroughly impressed with Garrett Richards. I already was coming into play tonight, but his arm is exceptional.
He had 25 of 30 first pitch strikes tonight.
He has 1 career complete game, no shutouts. So I'm a bit surprised to not see him out for the night.
Just doesn't matter anymore to anybody. For a guy to get a complete game shutout. Jason Castro's 1 for 3.
I can name a few agents who would disagree with that.
Well, maybe a few guys like Max Scherzer. Joe Smith gave up 3 runs the last time he pitched Saturday night at Oakland. Richards threw 107 pitches, 80 were strikes. And there's strike 1 to Castro, who singled in the 4th inning.
Apparently Mike Scioscia didn't want to go to 120 plus pitches. I'm kind of dropping it on the skip. It would surprise me if Richards had said I'm done.
1-1.
It's a pretty smart skip right there.
Long haul. Just over the 3rd way through the season mark. No need for him to pitch 1. Castro with a fly ball, and Hamilton goes over to the warning track. We go to Howard Chang.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, with John Singleton coming up to bat, it's time to relive what happened last night. And he really did put a charge into the crowd at Minute Maid Park with his very first career big league home run. So he asked on Twitter how excited you got when he hit that home run. Astros fan NJ tweets, "Thrilled, but I had to control the volume of my yes because my kid was sleeping and I couldn't wait to brag to my Phillies fans that I know." JN Haas 2 tweets, "You probably heard me yelling from my house when Singleton hit that home run last night. Made me think World Series, here we come." So that's the noise I heard. Thank you very much for tweeting me, Hoach and CSN. Guys, over to you.
Foul ball. Thank you, Howard. Singleton fouls it away. There's strike 1. He's 0 for 3.
I think we're agreed. That was an exciting moment.
Singleton said his first day in the big leagues was everything he hoped for and more. Slider comes in on him and he checked his swing on appeal to the 3rd base umpire.
I don't imagine he envisioned himself making a couple of errors, but who goes to that part of the box score anyway in terms of your friends?
Phil Boudreau.
Well, yeah, there's some of those guys.
1 or 2, but he's moving this week, so maybe even Phil won't go to that area of the box score.
Sure, he homered in his major league debut, drove in a pair, but look at this. He made a couple of errors.
Study those box scores. The former Angel skipper Gene Mauch used to do that. And the story was that, and of course he was a legendary manager, managed several clubs, the Phillies, that he would sit there for hours in the morning after a night game and look at box scores and study them. And he would be able to figure out which batter made the last out in the game and then work backwards from that to determine all the bullpen matchups against the hitters. Struck him out looking.
Did he smell bats?
Apparently so.
Well, if you saw Singleton there, he was doing the old sniffing of the barrel of the bat where he just fouled the ball off from. You get that smell that Ted Williams is attributed to being the person who smelled that. That smell is always there.
And did you do that yourself?
Oh, you know, as a catcher, it happens over and over the course of the game. It becomes less intriguing, I think, to catchers.
Okay. It's old hat for you guys. Matt Dominguez 0 for 3.
Tough arm angle for a right-handed batter. And as one, he takes that pitch, ball 1. Joe Smith, 30 years old, from Cincinnati, Ohio, went to Wright State. He did not have a scholarship to play baseball. He was cut from the team as a freshman.
Yeah, I've heard people tell the story about Ted Williams as if he was the only person who was so intense about hitting that he would smell. What was it he'd smell? Oh, it was
the burning wood,
I guess.
Ground ball to short. Ibar takes care of it. It's out number 3, and it's a shutout 4-0 win for the Angels. Shortstop Ibar, a big part of it, with a pair of doubles, a run scored and a run batted in 2 hours and 53 minutes. Garrett Richards runs his record to 5-2. Final 3 outs came from Joe Smith. And the Angels out-hit the Astros 9-4. They square this series with a 4-0 win over Houston tonight.